guys, Rasati out here in Singapore. Monday morning, we back at it. It's January 6th, y'all, believe it or not. So January's rolling on through, and I don't know about you, but I think I had a pretty decent week the first week. I think I could have done more, obviously. I could always do more. But I feel pretty good about all that I've accomplished so far. I still got so much more to do, and I'm trying to stay busy. I'm trying to make sure that, I keep my head down, I keep my goals in front of me, try not to get sidetracked, try not to get um, called off the project and do other things in the meantime. So I'm focused. I'm focused, y'all. You been back at my grind as far as, working out in the mornings. That's my mind and my body. Trying to find time to meditate and to read, to, put new information into my mind, to remind myself of the universe and all of its, beautiful wisdom out there. And I came across to be honest, I came across Jim Rohn. Okay, I didn't come across him. I was looking for him. Okay, I was looking for Jim Rohn and some of his older talks and stuff, and he was talking about the fact that you need to be disciplined no matter what. You need to be disciplined when you are doing really, really great, but more importantly, in order to get to a place where you're really, really great, you got to be disciplined when you have small wins. So I want to talk about that because I feel like that's where I've been a lot of 2019. Um, 2019 was a work year. Okay, it was one of those years where I had to really figure out how my discipline was working as far as my podcast was concerned, as far as building the business and everything. And honestly, where I jumped out the gate in January last year, it was a completely different aspect to my business. My t-shirts were running, I was doing really well with the t-shirts and stuff, and I was out here, selling t-shirts everywhere, and I felt really good about that. Now, obviously, halfway through the year, well, okay, not halfway through, maybe about March or so, just before the new year, I realized that, not everyone resonated with the t-shirt, and it's because of one specific flag, and I felt stupid about that because, come on now, we have so many different reasons to hate so many different flags, but this one that really, really hurts everybody's feelings when it comes to, to Sri Lankan Tamils and stuff. They don't want to be called Sri Lankan Tamils. They want to be Jaffna Tamils. They want to be Ila Tamils. But there's so many angry people when it comes to that war and that small, tiny, pearl-shaped island. And I don't know. I just can't handle it. So I just left it as be. I'm not going to change the design at all. That's going to be the first design I ever dropped, and that's cool. So going forward, obviously, the other designs would be a little bit different. They'll be a little bit more, a little bit more open to interpretation, I feel like, but still representative of me and what I believe, how I go about my life. Because honestly, you can't tell me that I don't come from Sri Lanka. That is a country. It is a man-made border, man-made flag. It is representative of humans, unfortunately. And you know what? In order for me to remember where I came from, I got to remember the fact that we were in civil war for forever. I got to remember that people still have a problem with the different religions, the different languages, the different colors of people. Just, it's dumb. It's really dumb. It's super petty. But the point is, unfortunately, that flag represents all of that, and that's where I come from. That's where my family comes from. My dad and his siblings escaped the riots. How? Because they were good to the Sinhalese people that worked with them and worked for them. They in turn decided to help us out and safeguard us and shelter us as we were trying to escape the riots. So I don't have nothing against nobody, y'all, for real. Like, unless you're physically out there trying to hurt somebody right now, or you're spreading hate like rampant, yeah, I don't have nothing against nobody. But the point being that that flag, as stupid as it is and as instigating as it is to even see the flag and think about all the things that go on there, let's face it, that's one of my flags. I mean, if you want to get all like upset and technical about it, y'all should be upset as hell about the American flag because it represents, Confederate and Union and like all of that, the slavery, the Civil War, the God, all the craziness, the Trumpness, all of that, But people seem to be okay with getting behind a U.S. flag. Honestly speaking, anything to do with the British Empire, like, people should be upset, right? Okay, maybe not upset, but they have as much reason to be upset with the British Empire as they do with the Sri Lankan flag. So bottom line, I don't care. This is my brand. I'm okay with it. I'm not saying that anything is okay or right. I'm just saying that these are the places that my family's from. These are the places that I represent because I lived there. I took time to grow up there. Anyway, that was a big, long sidetrack. The point being, this time last year, I was focused on t-shirts because I thought that would be a really easy way for me to make money. And it was a decent way for me to make money. But more than that, I didn't want one stream of income. So I started focusing on other things. Just as the whole t-shirt issue came up with, with the design of the flag and all that stuff, I got caught up with a friend of mine, and she had a conference coming up, and I was like, yo, I'd be happy to help. I love you guys. Um, I love what you're trying to do with your brand and everything. Let's get this awareness out there. I'm happy to promote. And I got caught up promoting with her and her conference and everything, and I did a good job, I think. I felt really good about what I was doing. I was a presenter on the conference as well. I was on the panel. I taught emotional intelligence um, in the conference, and I mean, sorry, it was a summit. And from there, it kind of like from March all the way up until August, I was caught up with this project. Not to say that I wasn't doing my own thing. I was still doing podcasts and stuff, but I wasn't focused the way I could have been focused on my business that I was on hers. And that's cool. It's just the way it was. So August came, and I tried to branch out a little bit and try something different, because I was in a place where I wanted to work on my physical health a little bit more. So I started a fitness group, and unfortunately that was met with a little bit of tension and frustration, and I kind of let it go. I stopped doing all the things that I was doing. Up until then, y'all, come on, every weekend, all my people were looking forward to posts of baby girl and her hair. They were looking forward to posts of me and my cooking. Like, they were happy to see me visible on Facebook. And that one blowout kind of like had me stuck, and creatively I didn't feel like I was safe to post online, because I didn't want to be met with criticism. Stupid, right? Anyway, so that changed everything, and from there, I think that was August until September-ish, and then suddenly I found Empire Artists, and stuff started to change all over again. So I started off with t-shirts, worked on coaching and teaching emotional intelligence, and suddenly at the end of the year, here I am acting, um, advocating for mental health in Singapore, like physically in Singapore, and I couldn't be more happy. Like, I've changed things around a little bit, and thank you so much to the universe for like directing me, being my GPS along the way. So yeah, that whole year was mostly work. It was mostly about me learning to trust my own gut and follow my own dreams, rather than to get caught up in someone else's dreams and what they need for their own life, and then find that I've put all this energy into someone else's stuff and I'm not getting anything done either. So it was a very big departure from the original idea I had, which is, I mean, to work for myself and do really well. So here I am listening to Jim Rohn this morning, and I'm thinking, all right, well, I don't know, how do I do this? Like, just send me a message, any message. Let me see what I got. Got to pick up from this speech that he gave, and it's on YouTube. But the thing about Jim Rohn is he doesn't give you just one nugget and expound on it. This man goes from 0 to 60 in, like, I don't know, 2 minutes flat, meaning to say that he will hit 3, 4, 5 different major bits of information. And if you don't write it down, you'll miss it. So you'll have to go back and listen again. But the point is, it's all relevant. It's all related. It's all super simple and mind-boggling at the same time. It's very, very annoying, but I like the way he presents this information. It's very, very unique. I will say it like that. It's very unique. So what he was talking about that really hit me was, how do you expect to get to, millionaire status or whatever if you can't manage what little you have? And it made me think about a couple of conversations I've had recently, because I know some artists that are super, super successful, very well known, to the point that they're afraid to be out in public because people will mob them and come ask for selfies and autographs and all that stuff. To the point that they don't want to be they don't want to be seen with me in public in case people start talking shit or whatever. I get it. It's all good. I'm not worried about any of that. But for them to be at that status, like accomplished like that, well known, well recognized like that, but they are still struggling with their money side of things, that makes me nervous, because that means I need to be really careful about the way I manage my money. I'm watching people around me, so I don't have to learn their lessons the hard way and live through it myself. I'm trying to watch, what people are doing. But that's not the only one. I know another gentleman who is quite respected, I think. I mean, I don't know these people. I I didn't know anything about, you know, MediaCorp or any of the artists here in Singapore until, what, September of last year. But with that being said, what I'm finding is A lot of them still have full-time jobs. A lot of them are struggling financially because no one teaches financial literacy. And when Jim Rohn said, hey, it's not about being disciplined when you have $1 million, it's about being disciplined when you have 20 bucks, when you have 50 bucks, when you have your first $1,000 paycheck, whatever. You got to be disciplined then, because that discipline will carry over, when you have big money. And it's true. It's so true, because I mean, look at Mike Tyson, right? Look at these people who win the lotto and then like the very next year they're back to being broke. I mean, it's just the mentality that they have. But no one teaches you how to watch your pennies. No one teaches you how to watch your pennies. Now you got, financial coaches and stuff, and that's all good. But how do you find a financial coach? You usually look for them when you're struggling with your money, right? You don't look for them before that. You look for them when you're struggling with money. So with all that being said, I have experienced being rich and I've experienced being poor. When I was rich, I was still living paycheck to paycheck. And by rich, I meant I had money coming in every month guaranteed. I didn't have to worry about where the money was coming from. But I can tell you where it went. I don't know where it goes. Shit. I have money. I got $4,000. My bills are paid, but I don't know where the money goes, because come the 25th or 26th of the month, I'm waiting for that next paycheck already. Like, damn, really? Talk about living the moment, right? That's like the whole other extreme of living in the moment. But how many of y'all feel familiar with that? How many of y'all go through that experience where you're like, I don't know where the money goes? And it's not until you don't have enough money that you start watching where it goes. You start looking at, okay, well, how many subscriptions do I have where the money kind of just leaks out every month without fail, and I'm not even like using half of that shit? Like, is this any of this really necessary? I remember when I had first quit my job and I was trying to make the money work, right? I was looking at where all the money was going, and I forgot. I I can't tell you how much I hate auto debit, like the gyro. It's called gyro here, but it's like an automatic debit on your account, right? So every month without fail the money goes out, but you don't know where it goes. Like Netflix, debit, right? You don't have to worry about that stuff. Um, what else? So many different subscriptions, but the point is, how many of those things do you actually use on a daily basis or use, regularly? And that's the part that I didn't understand. It was really, really mind-boggling to me that I can make all this money, but I can save none of it. Like, if my life depended on it, I would still be broke. It was terrible. So when Jim Rohn said, hey, the discipline is more important when you have nothing. The discipline is more important when you have a little bit than it is when you have a lot. Because if you can't manage a little, how are you going to manage a lot? And it's so true. So here I am looking at the fact that, push come to shove, if I have to, I can make sure I cook for a whole week on about 20 bucks. Literally. No problem. I can do it. If I need to do meal prep for other people, I do make sure that the price is enough where I can cover the groceries, cover the time it would take for me to make. And obviously I want a little profit on the side, because otherwise what's the point of cooking for somebody else, right? I want to make some money on the side, but I can't tell you how many times that I did meal prep that I lived off of the small profit margin that I made on cooking in the first place. Like, that's no joke. And I'm not saying it to be like, oh my gosh, I struggled. Yeah, I did struggle, but I'm proud to be able to say that I found abundance in the smallest of places. And because I've learned how to manage that, I would like to think that I'm disciplined enough where when I get to a point that I have more money than I can spend, that I would still be able to spend within reason and live an abundant life. And that's part of the reason that I even started my daughter's YouTube channel, is to show people that we can live an abundant life in Singapore, the most expensive city in the world, whatever you want to say, because there are so many things that you could do here that don't cost that much. Literally do not cost that much. So I'm actually excited about the direction this year is going. I'm happy about the way that I've learned to really pare down what I spend and be mindful of where my money goes, because it's important. It's nice to be able to throw money around, but what is the point of throwing money around if it's actually not making a difference in your life? That's what I'm getting at. Like, if I'm going to spend 10 bucks, I want to feel like I really spent a really good 10 bucks. I don't want to spend 10 bucks on one thing. Okay, let me put it this way. I love McDonald's and fast food just like everybody else. But if I'm going to spend 10 bucks, I want to make sure that that 10 bucks goes further than just one meal. Okay? That's where I'm getting at. If I had to spend 10 bucks, let me see, what can I... All right, you go to McDonald's, you get, not even a Happy Meal. You get like one of those upsized chicken sandwich meal things, whatever, and you've, jumbo fries and whatever else, and it comes to about 8 something, right? But if I go to the grocery store and I bought let's see, for about $10, I can get 2 things of bacon and some onions, and I can make bacon jam, and it will last me for about a week because you don't use that. It's like, it's almost like caviar. You don't use that much every time you use bacon jam, right? So I could have bread and cheese and bacon jam as a sandwich and have it, pressed into one of those grilled sandwiches or whatever, and that's a gourmet meal to me because it's gonna last me a long time. Um, Another thing I really love to make is quesadilla casserole, and I make it vegan sometimes because you just want to detox your body or whatever. So I mean, honestly, for about $10, I can get 2 cans of beans, 2 cans of corn, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and then obviously I have all the spices in the house. But let's say that's $2 each, right? Okay, it's just over $10. It's about $12 or so, right? And if I make that with pasta, you always have sitting around the house somewhere, right? So if I throw pasta in there, or even if I were to add rice, or if I were to add quinoa, maybe, it becomes very filling. The beans are very filling. You're not going to get hungry. You're not going to like overeat or anything because it's very filling. But honestly, me and my daughter, both of us, that's 2 people per day. We can eat that for about 5 nights in a row, which is what, 10 meals for $12. So kiss my ass. I know you understand what I'm talking about now, but I can make that $12 stretch and really count when I feel like it. And I know this because there have been plenty of times where I didn't feel like it and I kind of just wasted money, right? But the point being, now that I remember what it's like not to have enough, I make sure that I live within that mentality and save the rest because I don't ever want to get to a place where I really don't have enough again. So I am diligent and I am disciplined when I have a little bit because I need to be. It's important. Now, some things you can't change. Obviously, you pare down all of your subscriptions as far as like, do you really need Mio TV? Do you really need all these extra something somethings on your phone bill or whatever? Do you really need oh gosh, do you really need Toggle Prime or Premium versus regular Toggle? Do you need all these little extra things? No, usually you don't. And you know what? When you free up that money, it makes it all the more worth it. It makes it so much more simple, less hassle. You feel free. It's like you freed up more abundance for other things that are really important. Um, Absolutely, I could go to the book depository and buy books all day long. But why when I can go to the library and it's an excuse, that's what I'm trying to get to, an excuse to leave the house and go browse for a book, see what the library has, borrow it for a couple of weeks, read it and put it back, like, why not? Why not? Honestly. So, managing abundance starts with when you don't have a lot. Obviously, you need to be grateful for what you do have. And when you're grateful for what you do have, you make sure that that money counts. It's about the value of the money, not the amount of it. Quality over quantity. If I'm going to spend money on something, I want to make sure that that really, really makes sense. All of y'all be out there, and I was one of y'all. You see a sale, it's like 2 for 1. You're like, oh my God, 2 for 1. I could definitely use that. But how many of you would use the one in the first place? Or do you buy because it's 2 for 1? I mean, does that mean you're going to go garage sailing or you're going to sell it on eBay, the extra one that you're not going to use? Like, come on, let's think about that. Do you really need 2 of something? Whereas if it wasn't on sale, you wouldn't even buy the one. Like, let's really think about that, right? So, for me, major lesson last year, managing abundance. Even when it's not abundance in your idea of abundance, like it's not $1 million, it's not, $10,000 a month or anything. It's still small, but it's still abundance. It's still more than you had before. If you look around your house, you have so much abundance. How many of y'all have, if you look on your bathroom cabinet or your dresser top, right? How many of you have bottles and, you know, um, bottles and sprays and containers of stuff that you haven't touched in like years? Let's be honest. How many of y'all? Well, what was the point of all that? Some of those are going to end up going bad and smelling bad, whatever. You have to throw it out. Some of those you will never use ever again. Maybe you tried it one time and it really was not a great product for you or whatever. But like, how much money is sitting on your countertop that you don't even touch? How many of y'all have like tons and tons of clothes and you still feel like you have no clothes? You continually go out and buy clothes. How many of y'all have like closets that are bursting at the seams of stuff you don't use? How many of you bought something that's too big and too lazy to take it back and get something that fits properly, but it's still in your closet taking up space? Like we have tons of abundance. We have no excuse. We have tons of abundance. But the point being that we're not good at managing. How many of y'all have I'm going to try and be nice about this. How many of y'all have a drawer full of makeup that y'all barely use? And y'all know that if you haven't touched it after a certain time, or if it's been sitting there for like over a certain amount of time, it's no longer considered clean enough for you to use in your face. You probably need to throw it away. How many of y'all? How many of y'all feel like you need a new palette every time someone drops something, but you barely use makeup, you barely get a chance to play with the colors and do all this stuff? How many of you do that? We have abundance around us. We're not really good at managing it. So that's why I thought I'd jump on and talk about this, because I think it's important. I think it's necessary for us to learn how to manage all these things, because it's not something we're taught in school. We're taught to go get a job so you can afford the nice things in life. But what's the point of being able to afford the nice things in life if you're always chasing that next nice thing? I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like blown away by the fact that my baby girl can play hot cross buns on piano, and they were like, "Oh my God, how long has she been learning piano?" I said, "You're gonna laugh at me, but that was one lesson." They were like, "What do you mean one lesson? Well, who was the teacher? Tell me. I wanna pay to get this." I was like, "Are you serious?" Because I'm going to tell you right now, it cost nothing. It was free. It was YouTube. They're like, "What? You can learn on?" I was like, "Yeah, what can't you learn on YouTube? If you're disciplined enough to sit down with an electric piano that you can plug in right in front of the TV and learn what they're teaching you, why wouldn't you learn on YouTube?" Literally. There isn't there isn't much that I haven't found a way to learn on YouTube. Origami, YouTube. Some cooking shows, YouTube. How to make pop-up cards, YouTube. I'm not playing, y'all. It is a wealth of information. Like, what else do you need but the University of YouTube? I'm serious. If you want to learn how to figure out to manipulate video or edit video using Filmora, YouTube. Daniel Batal, he's my favorite person to go watch. If you want to learn how to, market yourself on YouTube and get more views and stuff like that, I know that Roberto Blake is a phenomenal content creator. And he's tried so many different things over so many different years that he could tell you exactly what to do. And this is why I don't really spend money if I can help it, because there's a way to do it for free first. It's going to take some digging, it's going to take some searching, and it's going to take some effort. You have some frustrating moments where you want to throw your computer out the window, but there's not much you can't learn on your own. There's not much that you really need to go and get someone else, pay someone else to teach you if you really want. Now, if you want, like, faster directions so you don't have to do all the searching part, yeah, okay, go get a coach. But otherwise, I'm telling you, I'm living proof. You can teach yourself. You can learn it on your own. You can go look it up and somebody will tell you what to do. I'm just saying, though. So this is how I manage my abundance. This is how I realize how abundant my life really is. I have so much to offer, and I have so much around me that shows me that, hey, you know what? I am supremely blessed. I have 2 beds in my room. Yeah, they're both single beds. My daughter lives in my room with me, and we both have comforters. We both have a bunch of pillows. She's got, stuffed toys and stuff around the room. Like, she's blessed. She is so blessed. Because when I first came to Singapore, all I had was a mattress on the floor. But I was able to build the headrests. The headboards. I built the headboards. I decorated the room. I planned the space so I could cram as much stuff into it as possible. And you know what? I'm pretty damn happy with the results. So there's a lot you can do if you put your mind to it. IKEA, my favorite spot to go shopping. It's dangerous as hell, but yeah, my favorite place to go shopping. I'm pretty sure I built my entire room for less than $1,000. And that's like 2 sets of drawers, a wardrobe, side tables, 2 side tables, 2 beds, a desk. Yeah, I got plenty. And I have nothing to complain about. So once again, you guys, look at the money that you've got coming in. Look at how much you really actually need to spend. Where is it going? You need to know where it's all going. You can't be like, "I don't know where it goes," and then be like, "I'm waiting for the next paycheck now." You got to know. Know those things on purpose. Do all that on purpose. And manage your abundance so that you allow yourself room to really grow that abundance. All right, y'all, I'm call it. I'll talk to you again soon. But in the meantime, y'all take care.